Hi you guys, it's Kimberly. So this is a video that I told you a while back that I was going to show you how to make if there was enough interest, and a couple people have said that they would like to learn how to make these flowers. These were just made out of receipts. These are just receipts. This one is from Hobby Lobby, Chuck E. Cheese, the Dollar Tree, Michael's, just everyday receipts. These receipts are thermal image receipts, so they're heated up in the cash register, so it's not actually ink on here. They're heat transferred, so they react to heat. So what I've done is added metallic paint in spots. I haven't added metallic paint to the whole receipt, but just in places on the receipt, and then you use your heat tool and it turns wherever the metallic paint isn't black. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So this is what they look like. This is a tiny one, and will you get that little flower punch that I used to cut these out? So this little tiny flower, I used my little flower punch by the Paper Studio. You can get these at Hobby Lobby. They're only, I think, maybe $3.99, and you can always use your coupon to get this. But they make, you know, if you just cut them out and stack them and glue them together and then ruffle them up, you can get these tiny little flowers, which are perfect embellishments for tiny projects. And I only made one because I'm just not in the mood to make a bunch of tiny flowers today. But when I do make these flowers, I'll just sit and make a whole bunch of them at once. So that's how this one was made. And I have one cut out, so I'm going to show you how to heat it up to get it to turn. But I'm going to show you also how to do these ones, how to cut them out and how to paint the receipts to get this effect. So this is just my drop paper. So I'm just going to take a receipt. And you don't want to do it on this side because this side doesn't react to the heat. Only the side that has the printing on it reacts to the heat. So you can do it a couple of different ways. You get my paper towels? You can just dab the paint in different places. I'm waiting for Brooke to get me a paper towel so that I can dry off my paintbrush. And can you go in the kitchen and get one? Yes. Remember, it has to be metallic paint. Any kind of metallic paint. I really like the golden fluid acrylics. They are a bit more expensive, so if you don't have those, and actually this is the only one I have, this little tiny bottle. I actually found this in the little bit of craft stuff that I got from my mom. This was in there, and I really like it. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome. And I got no ones.
If you don't have that, let's try this color. This is by Craft Smart, and the color is Icy Blue. Let me go out just a hair there. So I'm just going to put this down. So you can, just get it on your brush and then just kind of dab it in spots. You can use a couple of different colors. But remember, you don't want to cover up all of your paper because then none of the black will show through and you kind of, you won't get the effect that you're going for. The more paint you put on, the less black that you're gonna get. Now, one thing I did is I added a little bit of my Martha Stewart glitter. Not a lot, just a little. You know, this paint dries pretty fast, so you gotta be pretty quick with it. Sprinkle just a little bit on there. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. You can dry it now and turn it black, or you can wait for this to dry. I prefer to wait for this to dry, and I'm going to show you why. So you can do it two different ways. This is one that I went ahead and dried the paint before I cut it out. So you can do it this way and then cut your flowers out. But I prefer to let the paint dry and then I'm going to turn it dry, because if you go ahead and heat dry this now to get your paint to dry, you're going to turn your paper black. So just allow this, I prefer to just allow this to air dry. So I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to show you another technique. Okay, so I'm going to take another receipt and let's do this one purple.
Yes.
Okay, so is this metallic? Yeah, this is Anita's metallic deep plum. And this time I'm going to take my stencil. I haven't cleaned it off from the last one that I did, but that's okay. The paint is dry on here. And I'm going to put this on here. Now this by no means has to be perfect, so I'm not going to even clean off my brush. I'm not going to worry about paint seeping under. I just want the effect of the stencil on here, and I'm just going to kind of paint this on. Now this is a pretty small stencil, so I'm going to and this is a brush. This is really too soft of a brush to be using on this, but it's okay. I don't mind. And I'm just going to brush the paint across here. Try to get it into all of these little squares. And I can't even tell you where I got this stencil or who makes it, because I have had this stencil probably for a good 20 years. I used to stencil on furniture, and this is one of the stencils that I used. I actually still have a quilt rack, a freestanding quilt rack that I stenciled with, and the paint is actually, if you look at the bottom of the stencil where the bigger checkerboard is, it still has paint from 20 years ago that I never washed off. That's how old this is. Okay. So see how messy that is, but it gives it a really cool effect. So I'm gonna actually put this stencil so I don't get paint all over. But since I have these edges, this is such a cheap paintbrush, it's falling apart. But where the edges are, since there's no paint, I'm just gonna go and dab some paint over on the sides here so that they're not all completely black when I heat it up. Okay, so let's put this one aside to dry. And then let's get another receipt. Let's get a long one, or a longer one. Another Hobby Lobby. Who does all this shopping at Hobby Lobby? I really like this iridescent white. It's called Pearl Iridescent. I'm going to clean this off just because I just want this to be white, because I really think this is pretty when it turns white. And I'm just going to put the paint on in spots again.
I can't see it this way on white paper.
And before I put the glitter on this, but this paint has so much iridescent in it that honestly, you don't even need to put the sparkle in it, because golden, you know, it's really high end, but there's a reason why it's high end, because it's just quality. And I don't have high end stuff, but if I had the money to buy high end stuff, I would definitely buy, you know, golden stuff, just because it is quality. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry. I don't think, yeah. So I'm actually gonna let these 3 pieces dry, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, actually I'm back sooner. Those aren't dry yet, but I forgot that I had cut these out. So I cut these out previously. So I just cut random circles out. I'm going to actually make this one a little bit smaller. So you just want to, you know, be randomly smaller. So I'm going to put 4 together. Those 4 together. This is just a brad, a regular brad, so as not to rip this. I mean, you could try to punch that through, but I would be afraid I would be too forceful and rip it. I'm going to use, these are sharp pointed tweezers. I'm going to hold this and put a hole in the center of my circles. You want these to be random. I like them random. I mean, you don't have to do it that way. You can make them perfectly round if you want. And then I'm going to open up my brad, push it snug. Okay, and then I'm going to crinkle each layer gently. This stuff's pretty tough, but you still want to be somewhat gentle. I'm sure you could still rip it pretty easily. Just kind of fold it up, wad it up, and then unfold them a bit, just to get them to, you know, separate them anyways. You don't want them to lay flat, but you want each one to be separate. And then I kind of, you know, just fold them up just so that they have that shape a little. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. I'm going to put these guys aside so they don't go blowing all over the place. They probably still will. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Now this is the magic water. This is just a spray bottle with water in it. I'm just going to spritz this just a little. Now you want to have something to hold your flower down with. Okay, so this is just a pair of tweezers. Grab your heat tool. I don't want my layers to be water soaked to each other. So I'm just going to separate them back out. Fluff them. And now this is where the magic happens. Be very careful when you do this because this stuff can start on fire. It does get crispier after you heat it. But what the water does is it just crinkles it up a little bit, just like when you get paper wet and then you dry it. It kind of gives it that effect. So this one I actually didn't put water on. So see, it's just a bit softer. It's not as stiff, it's not as crinkly, but it doesn't have the wavy type of edges on it. Now your paper is going to stay white underneath. So if you wanted to paint it, I've not tried it, but if you wanted to paint underneath so you don't have the white, then give it a try. I like the white underneath, but you would have to test that out yourself and see. I like the white underneath, so. But also what the water does is you'll have little pieces, just little. This one had a little bit more. See, like here, there's just a little bit more water spots where it stayed white. And it could be the different quality of the register tape. But it just has little speckles of white. So this is the one that we just did, and this is the one that I did before. Now this one I painted the stencils on, the checkerboard stencils. So can you see how much different that one looks? And this is the one that just has the brush strokes on it. This is the one that I did not add water to, and it just has brush strokes on it. Okay, so this one is still wet. This one's dry. So let's go ahead and cut some circles. Let me go out just a hair. So I'm just going to cut some random circles. It's still a little bit wet. If you can cut wet, you know, paint, it's not going to hurt anything, because as you dry it, as you apply the heat to it, it'll dry that paint. So I add 4 pieces. If you want to add more, then you can. You're limited on the size of flowers that you can do because your register tape, you know, is only a certain size. But I believe that you can buy this thermal heat paper. In sheets. So if you wanted to make bigger ones, you could search and probably find it to buy. Okay, so let's try this one. I'm anxious to see what this color looks like. So I'm just gonna layer these up. Like this. Punch my hole. I'm going to put a silver brad in this one. Open it up and give it a good pinch. And then I'm just going to crunch up each layer. These are so fun to make, you guys. Honestly, you have to give it a try. I mean, you can use these on anything. I think these would be so cool to use on a mixed media canvas. You make those tiny ones to put just about on anything. But people would get these and wonder, how the heck did she make those? Okay, so now I'm going to open it, and I want it to be a little bit crunchier. This one's going to be really pretty, I can tell already. Okay, I'm not going to spritz as much water because I want to try to get those speckles in it. I'm going to use my longer tweezers just because I don't want to get burnt by that heat gun. Oh, that one turned out really cool, you guys. Ow. Watch out for your brad, it gets hot. Now you will burn your paper. If you start to see it smoking, it's burning. And it will start to turn back white. And once it goes back white, it won't turn black again. You can see where that happened to me a little bit over here. I got some great water spots on this. See how crispy it is over here? I got it too hot there. But look how beautiful that one turned out. Wow, I really like that paint. That paint color was what color paint was that? I'm looking. It was this one. It was the Craft Smart Icy Blue. What was this one? Get my big thumb out of the way. Can you see that? Is it focusing? Yeah. Icy Blue by Craft Smart. This is a cheap paint. Look how gorgeous that came out. And you could always, put something shiny in there if you wanted. This would be really pretty to dab some glue in there and then pop some little seed beads in there. Wouldn't that be pretty? Oh, I love that one. Okay. This one's pretty dry. This one's dry. So, I was thinking maybe we could do a different shape. So let me cut this one into 4s. And then let's just do, you guys see me okay? Kind of like a wavy. Instead of just a circle, let's do more of a wavy. I don't know if it'll look much different, but let's give it a try. You never know until you try. I need a tiny one. Who says you need punches, right? All you need is a pair of scissors. Okay, so let's stick this one together. I think this would look good with a black brad.
Black brad.
See, my assistant knows my code words. This one, this Hobby Lobby one has it on both sides. It's heat. Thermal heated on both sides. Interesting. I didn't notice that before. These are really pretty quick to make. I just save all of my receipts and put them in my desk drawer. And I've been saving my receipts to do this tutorial for you guys for a while, so I just have a drawer full of receipts. And I didn't come up with this on my own. Stacy from Pink Poodle Crafts actually did a really quick tutorial on this. She did hers a bit different than what I'm doing, but that's where I learned. Ooh, I like that with the little scalloped edges. This one's gonna be pretty too. Okay, so I'm just gonna fluff her up a bit. This one's gonna give it more of a rose shape. I tend to be too heavy-handed with this spray, so let's just do that. I'm gonna hold it because I don't wanna burn myself with the heat gun. And you guys see? Okay, let me go in so you can watch the magic. Try to get my cord out of the way here. Are we ready? Can you guys in view good? Okay, I think right about there. Okay, very pretty. Focus. Hot bread, hot bread. That turned out good. So did you guys see it smoking? That's when you know. That's when you know to get the gun off of it. Back it up. So this one did it on the back too. So Hobby Lobby receipts. They do it on both sides. This must be my first Hobby Lobby receipt. So look at how pretty that, now that was with the golden iridescent paint. I really like that one. And this is the one that I scalloped the edges on. I like it. So let's scallop the edges on this one. Now this one isn't as long, so I'm gonna have to cut this one a little bit smaller. It's okay. Am I in? Oh, okay, I am now. Maybe a little bit more precise since my papers are smaller. And take it more to the edge. There's one. Here, let me go out with. There you go. Two.
I like it. How do you do that, Grandma?
Just turn the paper.
Yeah, maybe I'd be a rough painter too.
You are?
Yeah, maybe I keep roughing and I get really smart, right, Grandma?
You're already really smart.
Except for you really nice. Wait, Grandma.
Yeah, you guys made a big mess yesterday with your watercolors. Okay, so what color, Brad, should we put in this one? I'm gonna take a little bit off of this one.
A little baby one. Now which one you want? I think this look good with the gold. Gold.
What's purple? That's silver.
Silver. You okay with that? Look good with silver.
Sure. Okay. Let's crumble him up.
This one. Another one goes. You're going to make a pink one. This one looks like it's full of a pink, a baby. No, it's need. We don't need a big one. Go full baby.
Okay, so let's squirt it. Get my cord out of the way, and I'll hold it down.
You dropped one. Come say again, Emma.
I'm gonna bring you in a little so you can watch the magic. And here we go.
You know, I've literally stand-up boards now, big on, you can stand up on these big like surfboards and paddling around.
And there's that one. That's the one that I stenciled the checkerboard on.
You know it.
Okay. Hold on, my husband needs to speak to me. Okay, I'm back. So these are the pieces that I had left over, and there's actually 5 of them here. So let's see what it looks like with 5. So I'm going to poke my hole. I'm going to put my brad in. Crinkle my paper. Squirt. It is a lot tighter, so that last one, my hand was too close to the heat gun, so you guys be careful. I'm trying to open it up enough to get to the brad. Sorry, I was a little bit off, out of frame there. Okay, so I'm just gonna. So yeah, it definitely looks fuller. So you know, you could add as many as you want on there. It's just your, you know, your personal preference. And then I'm just going to show you how I do these tiny ones. So I've got a lot of them here. I'm not going to layer all of these. I probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm only going to do 5 together. Okay, so I just take my glue. I'm just going to put a dot of glue. Put it in the center of each one. I use a toothpick. It's actually easier if you can. Am I in frame? I think so. Layer them. Use your toothpick, just push it down in the middle, and then you're just going to rough these up. Just kind of spin it around, get it all roughed up. While you're holding it, take your heat gun, and scooch over this way. Okay, hopefully you can see that, and then just hit it. It's a teeny tiny little flower. The other one. Okay. So I think there's much more that you could probably do with this, but you guys let me know what you come up with. Sure, there's many more ideas that you can come up with. Let me go back out. So here they are. So pretty. They're so fun to make, you guys. Seriously, you have to try them. Who would have ever thunk, right? That you could make flowers. Where should I put this one? These tiny ones. Who would have ever thunk that you could make flowers out of your receipts? So cool. So I hope you guys try these. If you do, please post them to my Facebook page. I would love to see what you come up with. And I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And as always, God bless. Bye-bye, guys.